Hi, Boya, and today I'm going to answer a question I receive very often. I've just bought my new camera, or tomorrow I've got to make some picture in such situation. What settings do you recommend? Let's start. First of all, this is not a question I received just to me. I also read it a lot on social network and Facebook. People asking, I'm going to make a picture of a baby. What setting should I put? Tomorrow I've got a wedding. What setting do I need? Or whatever. And there are two answers to that. The short one is, what is the best setting for your camera? I don't know. No one knows. Only you can know because you are there. Yes, if you decide to use your camera with special settings, it means you are not planning to use automatic. And if you are not planning to use automatic, you'll have to decide. And to decide, you need to be there. And actually, very often when you ask what is the best setting, you could not even tell yourself, even if you were an expert, because until you're not there, you cannot know. And this is really the problem. So there are some possibility that you configure the camera, and yes, there is possibility to help you. I can give you some tips or advice, or some people can orientate you because they've been in similar situation and they can remember more or less what setting they had. But really the expert there is you, and you're on your own in front of you the situation, and you are the only person that can decide. So how can you discover yourself situation? Well, you have a big friend, which is your camera, and except some cameras, normally top of the range, all the beginner camera for beginners, entry level, or whatever, they all have automatism and also scene modes. So if you put your camera in automatic, it will always try to go through the middle of the road in a way that it's not burnt, it's not moved, it's not blurred, it's sharp as possible. All this won't be the best picture, but it won't make a mistake or a disaster. And there are also the scene mode, like portrait, fireworks, birthday, party, sport, whatever. And also they will know that if you put portrait, it will try to blur the background. If you say fireworks, it will try to put the ideal ISO and ideal speed, so you actually see the firework completely open and all this. So you can use that. But yes, I know you don't want nothing automatic, you want to decide yourself, but you can use that as a start. So if I make a picture right now, I made the picture, and then when I review here, it tells me the speed, the aperture, the ISO, all that. And this way, although I made the picture in automatic or in scene mode, I get this information. So I can use this information as a base to start with. I can say, okay, I made portrait. Oh yeah, you put maximum aperture, put the ISO this way. Okay, that's fine. So from this, you say, when I make a portrait, I want to fine tune myself. I'll put starting with this data. Or the other way, you say, okay, it put maximum aperture, but I would like to have less blurred background. So I'm going to close a bit my aperture and change the speed, all this. But you start from this information that your camera automatically decided. Actually, the engineers that designed the camera decided for you and told the camera, if the guy says portrait, you must do that and that. If he says fireworks, you must do that or that. So actually, you can use this as a base to start fine-tuning for yourself and learning. So this way, you're going to build your knowledge, better your knowledge. Know that for portrait, you want that, for sport, you do that, for this. But then you have this way of cheating, and that's a start. So after some experience, you know that when you go for a birthday party, you know that normally when they bring the birthday cake, there's only the candle, and the ideal aperture, speed, ISO is this. So for the following one, you don't want to be on automatic, but you know what will work for you. Okay, so this way you are going to learn. And then When I speak about this, by the way, I'm going to leave you links here on how to operate your camera in manual mode, to expose in manual, and I think it's very important you see it too, because it will help you understand more about this video anyway. When we speak about settings, many people actually think about aperture, speed, ISO, and that's it. But a camera, there are many more settings. This is why you need to read your camera manual, because this is where the information is, where you will find all the possibilities. So there are tips I can give you that will help you a bit. There is a typical mistake setting that gives problem is the autofocus. Most people, they use the camera with the autofocus in continuous mode, and continuous mode is made for situation where there is action, there is something continuous. And what happened to them? Because very often this is what I call the Christmas tree problem. Yeah? At Christmas, well, this is someone, okay, and behind there's a Christmas tree, and I want to make a picture of that person. So I focus central point on this guy. I want to reframe. I move, so I've pressed halfway. I reframe, make the picture, and then what do I find out? That the tree is in focus and the guy is not in focus. Why? Because you're in continuous mode. When I half press, it starts focusing. It locks the finger. He sees the finger, but when I frame to the side, it doesn't see the finger in front of the spot anymore, and the autofocus is gonna jump on the batteries I've got on my table, so that won't work. So unless you are doing action photography, you must not use continuous autofocus. You must use single. Single, what is it? I focus my finger, I press halfway, I focus my finger, you can listen to it. Yeah, you hear it? It's focused, and then I can reframe and make the picture, and my finger is still in focus because I locked it. Okay, so it's important you don't use continuous autofocus if you don't need to. Same with burst. I see very often people make a picture of a stone, it's like this, and then a tree. The stone is not going anywhere and this tree is staying here, so why are you doing a burst, like several pictures like this? It's nonsense. Why? Because you're using more space in your card, more space in your computer. You will kill the shutter sooner. Why? Because shutter actuation has a life expectancy. It's not forever. So if you make when you need one picture, every time you make 10 instead of 1, well, your camera will leave, well, your shutter, because you can actually send it, you can actually change it if it breaks, your shutter will leave like 10 times less. So do not have burst mode if you are not going to use burst mode. If you're doing a picture of your kid running on the football camp, yeah, of course you can. But if you're doing a picture of a portrait or a picture of, I don't know, whatever, a plate of food or whatever, you don't need the burst. This plate is not going anywhere, okay? And then to measure the exposure. If you're using a reflex camera, I recommend you use the central spot. Why? Because you will actually, I explained in that video I told you before, you actually decide where the light must be perfect, and then you have the measure, you put your manual or semi-automatic, whatever you want to do, but if you are doing a manual, but you've decided where it has to be okay. So this is if you're in reflex. If you're actually in micro four thirds and other mirrorless, like some Sonys, you have a beautiful solution. Is that, as you can see on this Olympus, if it's overexposed, sorry, I will get like orange warning. If I'm underexposed, I'll get some blue warnings. I'll put you a link to how to configure on Olympus for that. But actually, all mirrorless, most mirrorless let you do that. The only difference is that instead of being orange and blue, some have rays and things. It's a bit different. But in that case, with a mirrorless, don't use spot metering. Use matricial to cover the whole area, so it will tell you exactly where it will be burnt or not burnt or whatever. Okay. And in both cases, whether it's reflex or mirrorless, have the highlight and underexposed warning when you actually check the picture after. When you look at the picture in your camera, you will see where it's going to be burnt and where it was going to be underexposed. So you can repeat the photo before going home, because then it will be too late. Most people, when they make picture, as you can say, it's reviewing. So unless you touch again the trigger, the camera will be like not available. You won't see anything through the viewfinder, at least if you're in mirrorless, and you won't be able to make to frame or prepare for the next picture. So I recommend you deactivate that, and when you actually want to check your picture every 3, 5, 4 pictures, then you just touch the play button and that's it. Why? Because first, it slows the process of making picture. Second, it consumes a lot of battery. And third, because I've seen many people, when they have review automatic, they're there and straight away they check, and then they check, and then they check. And when they start to do picture with the low speed, what happens is actually get blurred picture, because they have not finished. They're already checking, you know? So forget about checking a picture. When you make 3, 4, 5 pictures, then you check. Or if you're making a series, check the first 2 or 4 one. But then after, once your camera is configured, the setting is okay with the speed, the exposure, all that. If the situation is not changing, there's nothing else to check. Make several pictures and then you check the series, okay? But it's better you deactivate this feature, okay? Your camera can actually manage the colors in 2 ways. Adobe RGB or sRGB. Some people think that sRGB is super RGB, but it's not. It's small RGB. It's actually that. It means that Adobe RGB gets more colors than sRGB. So your camera, you must configure it as Adobe RGB, so you get as many colors possible. So when you're going to develop your raw file in Lightroom or in Photoshop, then you'll get all the colors. If you want sRGB, we get less. But very important, you must take into account on what support you're going to use this picture. If you're going to upload your picture to social networks like Facebook, Instagram, and more, they do not support Adobe RGB. So when you check your colors on the Facebook, they will be different from the one you get in Photoshop. So it's very important that before finishing, you actually export the final file in an sRGB format. This way, when you upload to social network, you get the same colors. If you actually use histogram, one day I'll do a video explaining about the histogram works. But some people actually already use histogram. I'm going to show you one thing. It's important that there are 2 kinds of histogram. There are some, they give you only the white one, which is the general histogram, but the one you can get the general light and also the red, the blue, and the green, each channel. It's important that you activate the RGB histogram, so you have fully the information, because sometimes it can tell you, oh yeah, but this is underexposed, and you see it's a blue, and you see actually it's a part of the picture that doesn't really matter, and this is a blue channel, this is underexposed, and the red is fine, and the green is fine, and that's it. No? So if you're going to use histogram, use the RGB version to have everything you need to know. White balance. Well, the usual thing is to use white balance in automatic. I recommend you do this way. But sometimes it's just not possible, because you get to a place and you make picture, you get like small orange, and then you make another picture, it gets more blue, and another picture more red or whatever, and you see like, oh, there's something strange there, and your camera is not able to repeat time after time the same color measurement, and it doesn't give you exactly the same colors picture after picture. So if this happens, forget about automatic. It's true that if you're in raw file, you could actually correct in post-production, but if you have made 20 pictures and they each have a different colors from the reality, the correction will be different. They will be for each, so you're going to waste a lot of time. So if this happens, get your camera and put it in Kelvin white balance. So if it's daytime, put from 5400 up to 5700. If it's on the street with this typical orange lighting, street lights, actually put on 2800. And even if you make a mistake there and the color is not exactly as reality, it means that the whole series you will do in this street under this street lighting, you will get the same error or same difference with the reality. So this means that when you will in Lightroom, for example, correct the first picture, you can apply the correction to the rest of this small series and you get the right colors on everything. Otherwise you will have to correct each of them. So I recommend that in unstable color situation, forget about automatic white balance, put a number directly in Kelvin. This is more or less the information I can give, because some people will tell me, oh, you forgot this and that. Yeah, I surely forgot many things, but deciding to work in manual or setting properly your camera is a matter of self-decision, and the decision can be made only by you. So I can orient you a bit, but most situations I'm not there to know exactly what you need, and no one can tell for you. And also very often people, they want everything ready. They don't want to study, they don't want to learn by themselves, but you have to train, you have to learn. If you tell me, tomorrow I've got a birthday party, what do I have to do? What setting do I need? I don't know. Are you going to use a flash unit? Are you going to be, is it going to be outside? What time will it be? Will it be a street light? Will it be the sunlight? Whatever. I don't know. You know that. So if you tell me, no, it will be in a house, private house, party, but I don't know what setting I need. Are you using a flash? Yes. Okay. And aren't you in a home right now? Can't you switch off the light and put a couple of candles on your table and see how it works, and try and train, and you're ready for tomorrow? If you have a friend who's actually doing a motorbike and he says, can you make a picture? I've got a race next Sunday. Do you train with your motorbike? Yes, on Friday. Okay, I'll go there, I'll test, I'll try, and then on Sunday I'm ready. So this is very important, that people don't seem to realize that if you want to make photography and you are not willing to train, you're not willing to learn to read manuals, forget your camera. Just get your phone and make picture with your phone. Don't even use an external app, a third-party app. Use a native telephone app and do everything automatic, and don't bother yourself, don't bother anyone, because really learning is something you must put interest, and you have to work a lot on it. I hope this video may help you. If you think it may help also other people, I invite you to share it on social network. Thank you for watching the video. If you have not subscribed to my YouTube channel, I invite you to do it. There's a button to subscribe below, and also a small bell. If you click on it, you'll get notified when I upload a new video. My website, ericgimbal.com. If you have any question, you can leave a comment below, send me an email to info@ericgimbal.com, and below also put links of my gear on Amazon and also links to other parts of my YouTube channel. Thank you very much. Bye.